Life's a game, the world's a stage, and we are merely role players, where theatrical people play role-playing games. My name is Josh. I have been your storyteller and games master for this studio production of Quest. I'm joined by the cast.
I am Chris Starkey, and I played Neville Flounder, a.k.a. Knight Gannet.
I'm Strat. I played the wizard, Jerry Picklepants.
I am Nat, and I played Bess, the Invoker.
And I'm Dave, and I played Josh, the magician.
And finally...
Hello, I'm Matt, and I played Sir Anselus, the High Warden of Altonwood Keep.
Yeah, you did.
So guys, that was exciting and unexpected. Did we have a good time?
Yes,
very.
Any burning questions from that mostly ad-lib campaign?
Any surprises, Josh?
All of it, really. I think I'm going to need to listen back to remember a lot of the crazy stuff that happened.
What would have happened if we did go in the sewer after Pickles?
Yeah.
Just a battle against a giant slime monster. That's what I had up, yeah. And then maybe a roll to try and get the weasel out.
Mm-hmm. What other accents were you going to have Matt do?
Do you want to know?
I'm assuming on the different planes he had different cameos.
Yes, yeah. So just to go back for you listeners, at the very start in episode 1, the players were given the choice of 3 worlds to visit. There was a spooky Grimm's fairy tale vampires and werewolves world. There was a Viking themed high seas adventure, and there of course was Murawai, the dinosaur pirate merfolk island. And so for this one, Matt, you played Sir Anselus.
The
daring, the silver-tongued. Who were your other 2 characters? Had they gone elsewhere?
For Velengrat, the spooky vampire Grimm's Fairy Tales world, I would have been playing Rosy Fingers, the innkeeper.
Steady now.
who runs the town inn alongside her husband Golden Hugh.
Yep.
The Golden Hugh Fingers.
Which I know this is a reference. I'm trying to remember exactly what campaign the Rosy Fingers and Golden Hue of Dawn originated from.
So this came from Mr. Chris Starkey's campaign early on in our D&D careers, where he described the morning sun breaking through the clouds as like rosy fingers pushing through the clouds.
Because it's based on the Iliad. Thank you very much.
I didn't realise Rosy Fingers was in the Iliad. And Alex and I immediately jumped on that and said, "Oh, Rosy Fingers, she sounds nice." And then Chris sort of went, "No, stop on, shut up, silly boys." No, what it does is it casts a golden hue. We're like, "Oh, golden hue, that's the husband."
And then
Years of therapy, of course.
If you'd chosen to go to Skorovik, you would have met Old Man Matthias, a local eccentric.
That's his job.
Were both of those NPCs that would betray us after we did something to help them?
Actually, no, you picked the only one that was going to be untruthful.
Yeah. The only one showing your true colours.
It was excellent role playing, man. It worked absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to meet a camp chicken rather than
Rosy Fingers.
I'd like to point out for the podcast listeners as well that Josh has very diligently prepped envelopes that are colour-coded for each of these locations. They each have a slip of paper with all of the character details Matt needed in. Dedication.
Nerd.
Look at our Instagram to see some pictures of that, probably.
Backstage photos, yes. Any other questions about the campaign or the campaigns we didn't?
How important was the first pirate that we came across? Sorry, let me rephrase the question. How sad were you that we killed it instantly?
His name was Honest Jack. No, he was completely irrelevant. Had you not killed him, he would have been pounced on by the Velociraptors. He was just a red herring of, we've got to fight a pirate. Oh no, it's some cool dinosaurs instead. So,
Sure.
I mean, technically, one of them still pounced on him.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But you finished him off, Strat. So
Yeah.
Were you concerned at any point, had you prepared for the eventuality just in case we ended up just storming into the pirate enclave without being sneaky and just tried to fight all of them?
I don't know, honestly, I don't know how I would have managed it, because the combat system and the balancing of this game I'm still getting to grips with. It's quite a simple combat system, and I like that because I don't want to have to roll dice and sort of overheat my brain thinking about abilities and spells and stuff. It's nice to roll a dice and say, yep, hits you 2 damage, yep, hits you 3 damage. So what I would have done is probably would have rolled them as like a group, a mob, rather than rolling 200 dice. Just rolled a mob dice to see how much damage you would have taken.
Sure.
And had you rolled badly enough, then you would have been captured or something. I would have made it up as we're going along.
Yeah.
Put in the cells with the small children.
Yeah, exactly.
Were the small children secretly evil?
You'll never know.
We never saw them back at the town.
We
Clearly
didn't.
they were.
Didn't check, did we?
You fools.
Or we just let them walk all the way back through a jungle for however many hours. Oh no, they had Michaela? Yeah, Michaela
yeah,
after
yeah,
them.
the scout.
Okay.
The inept scout.
And she made it back, so...
Josh, you said at one point when we were off mic that this was the scenario you'd prepped the second most for out of the three. What was your balance?
But basically, it just went in order. So I did Velengrad, did loads of writing, and then I did Murawine, did a bit, and then I got a bit tired by Skorovic, and I was like, well, I'll just do a God of War thing, because I've just finished that game. So I really just made it up. But a lot of it was copied and pasted with different names and accents. So
Yeah, I was going to say, I should hope so, because that's a lot of prep, considering we definitely wouldn't have done 2/3 of it.
There are a lot of weasels to save, is what you were saying.
Well, it was going to be a cat in Velengrad, and it was going to be maybe a lizard or something in the other one.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys find playing Quest and playing sort of within a one shot where you know you don't have to worry about what happens next and what the consequences might be?
I think for me, having not played it, getting the balance of like how much AP it's okay to spend and how much you're not going to get back, like that was completely unknown for me. So like in the first thing I was like, I'll do a big spell and make a big dinosaur, and then the rest I was like, oh no, I shouldn't have done that.
But it was cool and it was awesome and it worked.
Exactly.
It
It was definitely
defeated
worth
two
doing.
monsters.
But yeah, it's not knowing the system at all. It's an interesting, like very cold coming into like high level as well. Like lots of abilities, constantly like looking at my cards like, what can I do? But they're all fun things. So it's always like, well, I'll just pick one of these and do it.
Do you think you would have benefited from only having 6 AP like you were, 6 cards, 6 abilities like you would do normally? Would that have helped? Or was it fun to roll with the higher?
I think it's nicer having like the
More options.
more options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't use half my stuff, to be
No.
fair.
Yeah.
And it's difficult for the guide in Quest, sort of knowing when to dole out AP, because it's quite often like the big roleplay moments or like the big cool flashy moments that you feel like you should be giving out AP for are things that people spent AP to do, and it feels a bit like sort of making the ability free instead of rewarding roleplay. It's a bit interesting and weird.
It's tough, and I'm sitting with 4 excellent role players who, as standard, will be doing great role play. So it kind of feels like I can't always give out AP because you guys are just good at it and like doing it. But yeah, how did you find running with relatively low AP?
Challenging when you use it all to stab a pirate and fight some velociraptors. But no, it's good. Like it was just like my guy can't really do much unless he's got AP.
Well, but the strength of the system is that if you can imagine doing something,
Yes.
like even if it's not a thing that's on the card, you can still say, I run up a wall and use my momentum to drive the dagger home and just roll for it.
Yeah, I think we forgot about that.
Yeah.
Maybe the amount of abilities we had, we were so focused on that.
Yeah, what can I do
What
out
a
of this
thing, yeah.
pile that you forget all of the other stuff? Yeah.
I guess that comes from a one shot because you've just given like a book's worth of information about the character and how you're supposed to run it that you forget that you can just freestyle a bit. Whereas at lower level, you've got to freestyle because you can't do anything.
And you've picked cool abilities and you want to use them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were cool. Really.
Also, when you're just doing the standard, particularly in a battle scenario, if you're using just the standard one, you're only ever going to do like 2 HP's worth of damage. And when you're fighting a 2-headed dinosaur the size of a building, you need that AP to, otherwise we'd just be like, just whittling it down. But it was alright because it fell asleep. I mean, MVP, that potion.
Oh,
again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That really worked nicely.
Like you guys did, if you're up against something overwhelming and you're going like, oh, if we just basic attack this round after round, we're never going to chip all of its HP away, then it makes you think, what else could we do?
Yeah.
Rather than just wailing on it.
Yeah, how much HP did that
Yeah.
last thing have? Were we even remotely close to...
You got around to halfway.
Okay.
Oh,
It had a reduced hit point because you messed around with the ritual with the I wanted to reward the fact that you'd done that, so I took away as if it was a rushed ritual, so it came back to life with not quite as much energy. But yeah, you guys were doing pretty well with it. The balance. 1 minute you guys are so powerful, and then all I need to do is land a couple of hits, and the big things can do 4 damage, and then everyone's like, "Oh, really, really nervous." It's no real like whittling away. It's like we're fine. Oh fuck, we're not fine anymore.
Yeah, the balance for me, I think the abilities I picked, I really enjoyed them. I don't know, I think they would come into their own more in a longer campaign than a one-shot. because there's the what's it called, the blazing Avenger, instantly takes 6 ability points, but lasts until you cast it again. So that's you cast as soon as you get it, and then you don't have to spend that amount again, and it does extra stuff. So I was balancing in a short-term time where we're not going to... I mean, you were very, very generous with handing them out, so that was very helpful. But it meant that in the back of my head, I was like, okay, well, I know if anyone goes down from any of the fights, I have abilities to bring people back, or I have abilities to heal myself, but I need to make sure that I've got at least 2 AP left. So that suddenly made me go, but
had to balance your resources slightly. Yeah.
It wasn't too bad though.
Luckily, nobody was particularly close to death, apart from the dinosaur crush fall on you right at the end.
1 HP.
But I didn't want it to be so tough that it just felt like you guys were being chipped away. Like, it was about having fun, and you guys are heroes. And if you feel that things are insurmountable, then it's not as much fun. You know, perhaps if you just kept fighting against that storm avatar at the end, then you would have had some trouble. But as it worked out, bit of teamwork, bit of friendship. That's all you needed.
You mean team building?
Yes. Maybe we should do a what have we all learned type situation. I have learned. Let's do some stars and wishes, guys, which we've done in some wrap-up sessions for other seasons of Merely. Stars are awards you want to give to people around the table, including Matt and myself, to say, yeah, that was great, I love that. And wishes are things you wished you could have done that you'll try and do next time if we play again.
Loved all the Divinity Original Sin 2 references.
Yes.
It's a big star from me.
Thanks.
I like that a lot.
I get influenced by whatever video games I'm playing at the moment.
I don't know, it feels bad having this as a wish after what you just said, Josh, but I kind of wish somebody had gone like to 0 HP and then we'd seen that kind of desperation, like in a one shot, in a system where people only ever have 10 HP max. I would have liked to see somebody get in real peril.
I mean, stars to all you guys for running with your role play as you did. You all really, really went with it and took quite a tricky brief from me where I said be boring, mundane people. That's quite a tough brief to fulfill to begin with, but you really, really rolled with it. And then the transformation when we then went to Murawai and you're all doing cool stuff, that was a really nice change. So stars for you guys. Well done.
Oh, thanks, Josh. Star for you putting so much effort in.
Yeah.
It's a lot of effort, man. I think just like what I like about the system, just general star, is just that it takes quite a lot of imagination to get your head around. Because unlike D&D, when you've got your map in front of you and you've got your little pieces and all of that, in this it's just all in your own head, right? So you can what I might be imagining might be completely different to what Strat's imagining, what Dave's imagining, what Nat's imagining, what everyone's imagining could be completely different in their own little way. It was very funny. It felt very funny.
Very silly moments.
Yes.
Lots of laughter. Every single Merely season I've done that's involved Nat has ended with her in tears of laughter.
I'm going through so many tissues recording these, like trying to stealthily blow my nose and just laughing far too much.
I want to back up Josh's general role-playing style with a specific one for you, Nat, for sticking with like the people-pleasing HR character, playing that to the hilt the whole way, and sort of like finding the middle of the Venn diagram between like helpful, boring office HR manager and like party leader paladin kind of thing, like finding the justice and the like wanting to do the right thing of like parlaying that into the fantasy world. Just like every encounter that you had with anybody, you were putting that out. It was great.
My least favourite trope is the woman. If the woman one were in charge, the adventure would not happen. Like no one wants to be Marge Simpson when they grow up. But so it was that challenge for me of like, yes, we can be that type of person, but also adventure can still happen, and fun can still be had, and hijinks can still be had.
And it's never really much fun role-playing as like the person that's playing neutral good and like, no, let's go on and do this, come on, because it's more fun to I'm going to mess around and piss about, whereas you were like, no, come on, everybody. It's quite exhausting. I've had to do it before.
I think like stars is just the general funness of everything for everyone. Like everyone was just like, yeah, let's do whatever, this is great. And there was like not a lot of like, oh, we shouldn't do this. It was just like, yeah, do what we want, that's fine. Throw a potion at the person, don't worry about it. And I think for me it's a personal wish of like knowing enough of the abilities and stuff to be like, I don't actually need to concentrate on this so much. Like, I spent quite a lot of time in my own head being like, right, what can I do? How do I do this? Which wasn't really necessary in the actual kind of running of the game. So that was kind of a personal wish of like, oh, I could have just gone with it a lot more. But that's when you play a new game, right? That's trying to get your head around what you can and can't do. But the answer is you can do whatever you want, really.
Yeah. So it's quite. I was aware how intimidating it was to be like, here's a town, off you go. I didn't want to railroad you guys, but also I appreciate if you go too far the other way. And it's like, do whatever you want. All you can think of is, I want to sit on a chair. You can't think of anything like grandiose. You're just thinking of mundane stuff. Like, had too many options is a bit much.
That's the challenge of a one-shot, right?
I can't believe how many separate quest lines you managed to do and wrap up in one go.
Yeah, but they didn't all have to be like, let's just kill something. Like, you did pick a lot of the kill. Like,
I guess that's also, though, a benefit of the way the system is built, because combat can be over quite quickly. Like, the actual rolls that you do to see if you successfully steal the dagger from the druid are quite quick. So it's not like a D&D setting where, like, oh, well, this is going to be at least an hour of combat now. Everybody's get ready. A combat was maybe 2 rounds at most ever then, so that certainly helps.
And there were bigger enemies that you could have fought against on different threads of quests. But obviously, one of my biggest wishes would be that we could do it for longer, so we could do all the rest of the quests. But I
see the other planes would be nice as well, but you can't see 3 planes in one session.
Well, I started writing one of them, and I was like, oh no, I went too big, and I was like, let's just do 3 and then mix it up, and then it was up until like 2 days ago, and I was like, I've got 2 of them.
I'd say you could just do another series of this with another party from the office, but I think we might have destroyed Bureautopia.
Whoopsie.
Well, it could be like, somebody from the same group that went at the same time, but they just went to a different.
So we can see what happened in the sewer
with the weasels.
Who was Keith?
Who sorted the weasels?
Star for that, by the way. That sort of, I don't know how intentional it was, Josh, for making like the Quest Incorporated company a bit problematic. How much of it just sort of came out at the table, but just kind of deciding at the end that they were the big bad and we were going to destroy them, almost on a whim.
I honestly hadn't thought about it. In my head, it was like, it's something that you do. You go stag do. You do an escape room, or you go and you do whatever. You do bubble football or zorbing, or you go and do some quests. And actually, when we picked this setting, and we're like, that's a really, really interesting thing. I think that's what a lot of dungeon delving is like anyway, and a lot of any setting that's outside of a generic fantasy European medieval setting, if it's written through the wrong lens, can be seen as quite problematic. And you've got people being like, good, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to steal this, I'm going to murder you, and I've got lots of gold. And it's like, okay, we need to re-examine how we look at these sorts of things, while still engaging with the core theme of adventure and exploration and all that sort of stuff.
And it helped that all of the NPCs were just in on it and were kind of exasperated by it.
Yeah. I didn't want it to be offensive or too like. I think you guys wouldn't have gone for a situation if everybody was talking funny and referred to as savages and all the other awful things that come through. It's like, no, and also I like subverting expectation.
I wish I'd remember. I don't think it would have made a difference, I'll be honest. So it's a very minor wish that I'd remembered with my upskilled Warhammer. It actually did 3 damage instead of 2. But it's a small fry.
Everything could have been averted. Just getting that extra damage.
In character creation, everybody came up with like a desire or a dream or a wish of their character. How did everybody do on achieving those?
I achieved it double. I discovered 2 powerful magical artifacts.
You did.
I don't think I found an exciting secret, but I told the group an
exciting secret. I wanted to get out, and we all did, so,
I think staying was something a bit selfish of Bess to do. And she kind of would have done it whether Knight Gannet wanted to or not.
Sorry about that, by the way.
It's all right, Chris. One day we're going to play a game where our characters do get on.
I think it's just hilarious. We just seem to pick like polar opposites.
Single time.
I think a star just for the like world building as well. Yeah. Like, it's a really great setting. The the Westworld style story, the outside story, the trip in is a really great idea. And it meant it kind of justifies the like role playing character voices as well, of like you're talking as like people, but then also as your adventurers as well. Like it really makes the world make sense.
Lovely job. Well, with that, I guess let's wrap up. Thank you, everybody at home, for listening to this studio production of Quest. Thank you, everybody in the room, for your excellent contribution. And see you all next time. Well done, guys.
Yay!
This has been The Office Party, a studio production from Merely Roleplayers, starring Chris Starkey as Neville, Natalie Winter as Bess, Strat as Jerry, and Dave as Josh. Not to be confused with Josh Yard, who plays the supporting cast. The theme music is by Alexander Pankhurst, and the episode was edited and produced by Matt Boothman. We were playing Quest by the Adventure Guild. You can get the digital version of the game free from adventure.game. Merely Roleplayers is a Foggy Outline production in association with Blackshaw Theatre Company. Until next time, if drama be the food of life, play on!
Can you put that clap on when you start?